Hello, the book I chose to present is called The Hunger Games. Actually, it is a trilogy and was written by Susan Collins. Frankly, I just read the first book, so for that reason I'm not going to base this exposition on the differences between the books and the movies. But it is about a general view of the novel and comparisons with the nowadays life. The name of these three books are The Hunger Games, Cotton Fire, and Mockingjay. Let's watch a very interesting video which is going to permit us to understand more the perspective of the author to create this trilogy.
And when I was a child, my father fought in Vietnam. He was career Air Force. And I can remember being very young, and my mother tried really hard to protect us, but occasionally, after afternoon cartoons or whatever was on, the TV would continue going on, and the nightly news would come on, and I would see footage from the war zone. And I would hear the word Vietnam, and I would know my dad was over there, and it was a very frightening experience for me. And I'm sure that for many people who have loved ones over in Iraq or other experiences with having a loved one in war, have participated in one themselves, they have that reaction when they see the news coverage. But I get concerned that maybe a lot of people don't. We're so bombarded with imagery, and I worry that we're all getting a little desensitized to it. There's just too much of our lives that we're putting on television. And I think it's fine if you get desensitized to a sitcom or something like that, but when you're watching real footage, actual tragedy unfolding before you, that's different. It is real life, and it isn't going to go away when the commercial break comes on.
As you could listen, because many of us have been reared on this media diet in which brutal, perverse violence is the norm, naturally we will tolerate high levels of violence in our society. So most will not insist on real change in how violence is perceived and will accept a few changes on the edges of society as enough. For that reason, I call this presentation The Hunger Games: An Apocalyptic Future. There are many themes, motifs, and symbols to have an idea of why do I decided to call it in that way. The first one is the inequality between the rich and poor. In Panem, where the story takes place, wealth is heavily concentrated in the hands of the rich, particularly those people living in the capital. The result? A huge disparity between their lives and the lives of the poor. In the districts, they do not have even enough to eat. Hunt illegally was a practice that Katniss had to learn to feed her family. And as you can imagine, most of the basic foods are luxuries for them. To continue, the next theme to present is suffering as an entertainment. The Hunger Games present the tributes suffering as mass entertainment, and the more tributes suffer, ideally in battle with one another, the more entertaining the games become. So the main draw is voyeurism. Not dying quickly was expected because the entertaining is over. Not just physical suffering is presented in the novel, but psychological as well. You can see this in the Katniss and Peeta's romance. The importance of appearance. Why is this so important? Well, throughout the story, Katniss and her team use external appearance, including what she says and how she behaves, in order to control how people perceive her. For example, she won't allow to herself to cry in public. The dresses that are created for her are absolutely made to stand out, and also because they are more tend to attract sponsors as a survival strategy. Even the romances are not entirely genuine. Fire. The fire plays different roles throughout the story. It is the element that gives the various outfits created for Katniss their character, and she earns the epithet, the girl who was on fire. It is more than her dress. The fire refers to Katniss' spirit and temperament. Defiance. The novel is full of defiance against the capital, despite the capital's authoritarian control over the people of Panem. Katniss and Geralt's hunting, for example, or the gesture of respect to Katniss after she offers herself as a tribute, and how it becomes the symbol of the Mockingjay, and therefore of rebellion. And decorating Rue's bodies after her death was also an act of defiance, because it violates the spirit of the Hunger Games. Hunting. Katniss hunted to feed her family, but it is substantially different to hunt an animal than a human, so the connotation shifts from a positive to a negative one. Panem. It is the country where Hunger Games takes place and symbolizes a dystopian United States. The games were created as a reminder of powerlessness and offers us a valuable criticism of modern culture in the US. As a conclusion, I can say that now, of course, there is no such thing as an actual Hunger Game, and definitely no event that involves children fighting to the death. However, the topics that it addressed seem to hit close to home, and that there are a lot of crossovers and correlation that beg the question, are the odds ever in our favor?